Welcome to Socially Powered Digital Marketing Show, the digital marketer's guide to emerging technology covering blockchain, cryptocurrency, and social media disruption. Hey there, I'm Erin Cell, your host of the show. This week, we will be discussing the power of personal branding. I'm excited to bring to you this week my friend Nik Scott. Nik is an award-winning personal brand coach. She is the creator of FABB, Public Speaking, a 6-week accelerator to teach women how to kickstart their speaking business using the FAB framework. It is Nik's passion to help women entrepreneurs use their unique qualities to differentiate themselves from everyone else in their industry. Nik is a firm believer in selfless self-promotion, challenging her clients to think of personal branding as a service to others instead of self-serving. As a speaker, Nik has taught thousands of entrepreneurs across the nation how to establish, grow, and maintain their personal brands. As a consultant, she's worked one-on-one with politicians, nonprofit leaders, corporate executives, and small business owners to position themselves as authorities in their niche. Just as she's done as a speaker and a consultant, it is Nik's mission to teach women how to leverage their power of their personal brand in order to establish their credibility, amplify their expertise, and increase awareness for their business. Welcome to the Socially Powered Digital Marketing Show. I'm super excited to have Nik Scott with us here today. Welcome, Nik.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
I am so excited to have you here with me. So we were just chatting before we started recording, and I can't believe it has been 2 years since we have really had a chance. I mean, it's a little different since we're seeing each other, on video versus in the face-to-face. But I can't believe it's been 2 years.
2 years. And if we were face-to-face, I'd be giving you a big old hug.
I know. Same here. So I do think it's funny how we met each other and we were trying to figure that out. And I think we have discovered that I think I found you via LinkedIn search.
Yeah. That is crazy because nobody believes that LinkedIn is one of those tools that people actually use to find people.
Yep. And it is funny because and so basically, the story is that I was doing a search trying to find somebody that worked within social media at some of the local Denver universities. And I found you and reached out and you replied and I invited you to come speak at Social Media Day Denver. What was that? 2018?
Yep.
Yeah.
It was 2018, and that is so interesting because that position at the University of Denver is really what gave me the footing that I needed and the grounding that I needed in order to transition into everything that I'm doing today. So,
right.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny because we were just talking about that as well. So you really were in the social media realm and you have recently in 2020 transitioned to more of the personal branding and even niching down to personal branding for entrepreneurs. So tell me a little bit about that journey and that transition.
Well, first of all, social media is still my thing and I still love social media. And I will always credit social media for making me the digital marketer that I am today. I started off in social media almost by accident, right? Because my generation, I'm not a millennial and it's no shade toward millennials. I'm a Generation Xer. And, when social media came around, I was very skeptical of it. Like extremely to the extent that I didn't even want to show my face or use my real name.
Oh,
okay.
Funny.
And so the fact that I was able to transition from being afraid of social media into a position at the University of Denver and being recognized for the work that I've done in social media and the contributions that I made to the field, I started to feel like it was just so saturated at one point. I started my public speaking business around the same time that we connected. I really invested in that. And as I was seeking and going after public speaking businesses, I started to realize it was so competitive in the social media space. Despite all of the accolades and achievements and experience that I had in this industry, it was just so saturated. So I had to make a decision, and I decided to niche down from social media and take all of the knowledge and experience that I had in social media as an influencer, a social media influencer, and really start to package that into something that I could help entrepreneurs with. So it was almost a strategic decision. Sometimes I feel like, was it the right decision? Because social media is that thing. And I read an article just yesterday, I believe it was on Forbes, and it said the next wave of CMOs will all come from the industry of social media. So social media managers are the next CMOs, basically, is what this article was saying.
If you have that article, I would love to take a look and
Sure.
include that in the show notes for everybody who's wants to see it. I think that's interesting. And the thing is that I personally feel like personal branding goes, it like they work so closely with social media. I mean, that's how you are able to, display your personal brand via, social media, obviously, like your website, your speaking. I'm a big fan of just, for me personally, when like how I branded myself is with my colors. Like I use my colors in everything I do. Like my nails are painted with my colors. Whenever I speak, I try to wear, those colors. I guess let's go into, I've got a few questions that I wanted to make sure that we cover. So the first one is, how do you accelerate your personal brand so that you can use it as leverage to grow your career or your business?
Well, there are 6 tips that I have for your listeners. 6 tips that I have to accelerate your personal brand, because let's be clear, if you are going to put in the effort to manage your personal brand, because yes, you have a personal brand, and hopefully by now everyone recognizes and accepts the fact that they have a personal brand. If you're interested and you're putting in the effort to actually brand yourself, you want to make sure that you're doing it so that you can position yourself for career advancement, so that you can increase sales for your business. So I have 6 tips. And the first tip that I have is that you have to know who you are. Personal branding is all about knowing who you are and embracing it. All of the good that's in you and some of those areas of opportunities that exist within all of us. So the first tip is to know who you are. The second tip is to stay in your lane. And if you are in this lane and that lane and her lane and his lane and their lane, there is no way that you can have an effective and an impactful personal brand, because you're all over the place. So you need to choose a lane and you need to stay in it. The third tip that I have for you is to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Because I'm gonna be very, very honest right now and say that when you start to really brand yourself and people start to recognize your brand, opportunities are going to come. People you don't even know are going to reach out to you and connect with you and want to work with you. And if you're not ready, that opportunity is just gonna pass by. So stay ready so you don't have to get ready. The fourth tip that I have for you is to be authentic and to be genuine. Listen, the thing that separates you from everyone else in your industry and in your field is you and the unique set of knowledge, skills, and abilities that you bring to the table. Number 5 is to engage in selfless self-promotion. So the personal branding, especially with women, it makes us a little bit uncomfortable, right? Because it might make us feel like we're being pretentious or we're bragging. And that's not what this is. This is a service that we are offering to our target audience. If we do our personal branding in a way that is a value to those who we are speaking to, then it is a service, right? So it needs to come from a selfless place. Personal branding is not about you as much as you might think so. It's about the people that we serve. And then number 6, it goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning, is to use social media the right way. Social media has changed so much since the days of early Twitter and early Facebook. We now, as entrepreneurs and as professionals, we have to learn how to use social media the right way.
I love that. I think my favorite and of all of those is the selfless self-promotion. And that's honestly why I created this podcast, is because I want to be able to share with people all of the amazing people that I know, such as yourself, because I only know so much about, a few things. And here I'm able to bring so much more information and knowledge to people. So
I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about was you have a must-have process to becoming a powerhouse in your niche. So let's hear about that.
Social media is wonderful and it is great, and it is a perfect tool that you should access almost every single day in your business and as a professional. But the one thing that I think people need to understand is they need to stand out in their industry. They have to stand out in their industry. And so what I have for you is a framework. It is STAND. How do you stand out in your industry so that you can become a powerhouse in your niche, right? And the very first thing that you should be doing is speaking to your industry peers. So the S in STAND is to speak to your industry peers, because I'm telling you, social media is wonderful. But at this point in the game, it's not only saturated for speakers like myself, it is saturated for users who use social media. There's so much content that goes around every single second, right? Like, we can forget about a 24-hour day. Let's just talk about a second, how much content is posted on social media. And it's great. It's a great amplification tool. It's not the tool anymore to grow your brand. So if you're really looking to grow your brand and become a powerhouse in your niche, you have to start public speaking. And then the T is to talk about what you know. Because a lot of times what I've seen speakers do is they will take any and every speaking engagement just to get some experience under their belt. But remember those 6 tips that I gave you. I said to stay in your lane. So Talk about what you know. And then the A in STAND is to adapt to the needs of your audience. Listen, as speakers, we put a lot of time and energy into our performances. And the best speakers, they do practices and rehearsals before they get in front of an audience. But nothing is worse than when the audience really needs something from the speaker and the speaker is not adapting to that. And this even goes with virtual speaking. I know it's a little hard to connect, right? But if we have a team to help us deliver our presentation, we can kind of tap into a little bit of what's going on with the audience as a virtual speaker also. And then the N is to niche down your topics, right? So we said at the beginning, I am a social media expert. I am a marketer. And I'm also a personal branding expert. So just keep niching it down, because you're going to be able to make such a more powerful connection with people in your industry when it's a niche, as opposed to just this broad shotgun approach to your speaking business. And then the D is to document the moment, because social media is that amplifier, right? And so we need that content to share, to show, and to prove our knowledge, skills, and abilities as professionals and entrepreneurs within our industry and within our field. So STAND, that is how you're going to become a powerhouse in your niche, is to stand out, to speak in your industry, to talk about what you know, to adapt to the needs of your audience as you're speaking, to niche down your topics, and to document the moment.
I love that. I know whenever I speak anywhere, that's one of the main things that I always ask whoever's putting the conference together is like, who's going to be in attendance? What do they need to know? It's funny to me how many times though you go to something and the speakers are so, I feel like there's so many times that speakers are out of touch with who it is in attendance and how to effectively speak to that audience. So I think that is definitely very, very important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the last thing I wanted to make sure that we talk about is how do you escape blending in, or how do you make sure that you are standing out in your industry, your niche? Because a lot of times places or industries are crowded,
Mm-hmm.
and it's easy to get lost. So how do
Amen.
you what do you recommend?
The 6 tips that I gave at the beginning, absolutely, you have to take those, write those down, and make those happen and implement those in your personal branding strategy. But even more than that is you have to learn how not to get stuck. You have to learn how not to get stuck. And getting stuck is the number one way. This is Nik Scott's statistics, y'all, okay, is the number one way for you to blend in with the masses. Why? Because the masses are stuck. They're stuck. Like they start to move forward, and then for whatever reason, they just get stuck. They get stuck in a position in their career. They get stuck in a place in their business to where they can't scale. They just get stuck. So this is another methodology that I'm going to introduce you to. It's STUCK. And how do you not get stuck? How do you escape blending in with the masses? It is number one, don't say things that you will never do. We so often make promises to ourselves that we never fulfill. And if we cannot keep a promise to ourselves, how are we going to be able to serve our audiences through any type of selfless self-promotion, right? So don't say things that you're never going to do. Don't try a bunch of things that you see everybody else doing, because in this digital day and age, it is so easy to get distracted and to think that we need to be doing TikTok videos, but they're misaligned with everything about our brand and who we are as a person, right? Remember, I said you need to know who you are. Now, if you're going to do TikTok, make sure that it is on brand and in alignment with what you're doing, and it's articulating the messages that you want to send. So don't try a bunch of things that you just see other people doing, and then the you in stuck is, whew, boy, this is for my entrepreneurs and my professionals. Do not undervalue yourself. Stop. So often we forget about the things that we've done and the things that we have achieved. And we forget about the journey and the process that it took for us to achieve it, right? So then we undervalue ourselves. We forget that we have receipts. Like, we have receipts. Like, we are not in these positions as entrepreneurs and as professionals by accident. We work to get here. We have some things under our belts. So don't undervalue yourself, because chances are, if you're undervaluing yourself, you're undervaluing yourself as a professional and as an asset to your company. And you're probably undervaluing your products and services that you offer as an entrepreneur. And then
It's funny you say that. I just have to add this. I was just talking to somebody the other day, and she's an artist. And she was saying how she sold all these, she does custom pet portraits, and she sold all these pet portraits. And so the first thing I said to her was, I'm like, raise your prices, raise your prices.
Raise your prices. It is so difficult. And again, as women is my target audience. So I don't mean to alienate your male listeners, but women, we do undervalue ourselves a lot. We do forget all of our accomplishments and accolades and the things that it took for us to get there, right? When we're talking about selfless self-promotion, it's those stories, it's the journey, it's those meaningful connections that our audience wants to hear in our personal branding efforts. So we can't forget about that, and we cannot lose ourselves in the process. So we're good at that.
Yeah.
But that ain't what we want to do. We want to make sure that we are getting all our coins and making sure that we are getting paid what we deserve. Okay, if you're commissioning pet portraits, let me tell you something. I would pay a good penny for someone to commission a portrait of my Chanel.
Yep, same.
That is my baby.
Yep.
And then the seat and stuck, we covered it a little bit. We talked about changing lanes. So don't change lanes. And then K is don't keep putting it off. Whatever it is in your heart, don't be afraid. We had a conversation, you and I, just a few minutes ago about just pivoting and transitioning and letting go of things that no longer serve us and who we are, right? So don't keep putting it off. So don't get stuck. Everybody else is stuck. If you want to be like everybody else and blend in, go ahead and get stuck. Go ahead and say things that you're never going to do. Go ahead and try a bunch of things that you see other people saying. Go ahead and undervalue yourself and keep changing lanes and keep putting it off. So yep. Be stuck if you want to blend in.
Yep. Oh, I love that. So good. So I do want to mention, I know you've got a free masterclass on personal branding that you've been offering. So tell everybody a little bit about what that looks like and what they can get from it. I mean, obviously you've given a ton of valuable information just from, what we've been talking about today.
Absolutely. So my free masterclass will open back up for registration on November 16th.
Oh, perfect timing.
Yes. So it is perfect timing. And in that masterclass, I will be going in deeper into personal branding and I'll talk about 3 mindset shifts that you have to make if you truly want to accelerate and optimize your personal brand. And I know I gave you 6 tips today, but it's a mindset thing. And we have to really, really address what's that mental block that's going on and that happens with a lot of people when it comes to personal brands. So I'll be talking about that, and I will be sharing those 3 shifts that I made, that many of my clients have made in order to establish very impactful and profitable personal brands. The other thing that I'll be sharing in that masterclass is my 4-part framework to accelerate your personal brand. And I am so excited about it. And you can register on my website at inikscott.com. So it's the letter I and then Nik Scott.com. And you can register for free right there. So it will be offered for just a very limited time. And yeah, so I'd love to have any of your listeners join me, and let me know if you're here from Socially Powered, let me know when you get there that Erin sent you.
Definitely. So when does that start and how long, what are the details?
So it's going to be offered at various times during the day. I'm really making it very flexible for people to enroll. So the times, we'll have some morning slots available, and we'll also have some evening slots available. And it's going to be open for 7 days.
Perfect.
So that's Sunday through Saturday. So 3 times available for you at your convenience for you to join me on this masterclass.
Cool. Well, I think I'll have to join it.
Yeah, well, thank you, Erin.
Yeah. So tell everybody, what is the best way to connect with you? What platforms are you on and active most often?
I am all over the internet. Listen, my digital footprint, if I tried to delete it's impossible. My most active social media platforms at this point are Facebook and Instagram. And I am all over the internet at Nik Scott. So that's the letter I and Nik Scott. And further, I have a free private Facebook group where I teach personal branding for entrepreneurs. And that's exactly what the Facebook group is called. It's called Personal Branding for Entrepreneurs. And if you just search on Facebook and request access, I will surely love to have you in that community. So Nik Scott all over the internet, and Personal Branding for Entrepreneurs Facebook group.
Perfect. And I'll put all those links, of course, on the show notes to make it easy for everybody to find you.
Awesome.
Yay. Well, thank you so much, Nik, for being on the show today and sharing all this awesome information.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. It was so good to connect with you, to reconnect with you, Erin.
Yes. Yeah.
Your energy is just amazing. And I'm so proud of the work that you're doing and continuing to do in the world of marketing and social media. So thank you.
Same to you. Thank you. I really hope everyone enjoyed that interview with Nik Scott. I know that I truly did. And I hope that everybody goes and signs up for Nik's free masterclass, the 4-step framework to accelerate your personal brand. Because why wouldn't you want to do that? So go do that. The links are on the show notes. Thank you again for listening. Be sure that you subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of our latest episodes. And if you're enjoying the show, we sure would love a review on your favorite podcast player. Be sure to connect with us on all your favorite social media platforms. You can find us everywhere at Socially Powered, where we will be sharing tips, tricks, and the latest episodes on all things social, crypto, and blockchain related. Thanks for listening, and we will see you again next week.